the lesson.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you've made the 2016 Nationals.
Yep.
You've won that. I think G Smooth came second.
Yeah, man. It was really close. I think there was a couple points between us. And you know, because it was so close and I didn't qualify at the Worlds, that's what made me so inspired and steadfast about defending. Like I had to come back. Had to win again, and I had to qualify at the Worlds. Like I'm just like, fuck this, man. Like, and also man, I'm a pretty paranoid dude. Like I knew there would have been, you know, G Smooth had just come off the back of getting caught out for cheating in the Red Bull. And so he came third the year before at the Nationals. So he had the right to defend, right? And like I knew dudes there'd be talk behind closed doors about, oh, did Osyris deserve it? Did they just not want to send G Smooth because he's an embarrassment to Australian turntablism? You know, I would have been thinking that as well. Fucking oath, you know, like as if, you know, but you know, after actually watching the live footage from 2016, I know I won that battle. You know, I comprehensively beat him that night. I feel, and that's not me being I'm pretty harsh on myself and critical, but you know, that's why like and after I didn't qualify, I mean in 2016 at the World Final, like I came like 11th out of 17 and the cutoff was 10. Like Australia hadn't qualified in 2 years. Broke didn't qualify the year before me, and then obviously B2 qualified the year before that. But in the 3 times that B2 went there, he didn't qualify in the second time he went, which was weird because that second routine of his was his best, in my opinion. I really like that routine out of the 3 that he went there with, and he didn't qualify. It's a hard thing in knowing the routines that you make up, how they're going to transpire with the judges, you know. But anyway, so like after coming back from London, and I was like, well, I've done it once, you know. That was my goal. I know I can do it. You know, I'd never been overseas before.
Oh wow!
I didn't have, man. After I won, literally standing there with this fucking Rain 62 in my hand on the stage at the Nationals. And I turned to Kieran, I'm like, I don't have a fucking passport, man. And like, man, I don't know whether you know, KC's like Burmese. You know, he's my wife's Burmese as well. I don't know why I mentioned that. But like he just went white. We're completely like whiter than you, you know. And he went white, and he just like blank, you know. What do you mean you don't? I'm like, man, like, you know, like now I became a dad. Like, you know, I went from just becoming a qualified chef at 25, did my apprenticeship a bit late, and you know, became a father at 27, you know, and then had 2 more kids pretty much straight away. So, you know, there's not much time or money to travel when you're doing that kind of thing. And plus, man, I've always had my head really seriously down in my career and obviously practicing. And then, like, that was one of the reasons why I was like so emotional when I won in 2016 was like, you know, like I never thought like anything like this would ever happen to me. Yeah. So anyway, great. So 2016. So yeah, won that.
Yeah, and then you went to Worlds for that, but you didn't qualify.
Went to the Worlds, didn't qualify. Came at 11th or I think 12th out of I think there was 17.
So then that means that you don't get to go on that World stage. You just come straight.
You're not in
home.
the World Final, man.
Yeah, because a lot of people
You're not in the
would
World
think,
Final.
Yeah, a lot of people would think that once you win Nationals, you're automatically in the World
Dude,
Final.
man, like it. Because I'd never been in that position of actually having to fly overseas before and battle outside of Australia, like I was with one of my best friends and we're singing in his kitchen the morning after the final, and the sun's coming up, when we're sitting there with beers, and we're sitting there just staring at the gold record, just looking at each other going, what the fuck has just happened? You know, like, man, I can remember it like it was yesterday. It was so vivid. And then he turned to me and he's like, man, you got to go and battle the best DJs in the world now. And literally, man, I just froze, and I was like it really, the realness of it really kicked in. And to be honest with you, like, the set I'd never designed that routine to actually take to the world final and battle. The following year, the 2017 routine was I constructed to take to the world final and qualify. And I did, thankfully.
Yeah, now let's talk about, that title, because I actually remember, I think it was J-Red who live streamed it. Where was it? Was it at, what was
at
the venue?
Laundry.
Yeah, at Laundry Bar. And I think I watched, like, you were on last. I think Wolsey was on before you.
No, and Wolsey snare then me.
Yeah, so I reckon in total I would have
I deliberately
5.
sound checked the same side as Wolsey to get some separation in between me and him. When I told him that recently, he was like, motherfucker. I'm like, man, I'm defending. I'm going to get some sort of leg up, like, Jesus.
And I mean, going into that, would you say he was the main dude?
Yeah. Dude, 100%. He's got home court advantage in Melbourne, which is a big thing. You know what I mean? Just because you got to travel there, and like, credit to him, man. Like, he came fucking hard. And he knew he was, like, obviously he knew he was battling me. I mean, he was putting in some serious hours, and we're good mates, so he was talking to me about how much he was practicing. And I was like, fuck, man, I'm going to actually have to really put my head down to beat this dude. But I mean, having to battle him, I mean, and prepare for him to also got me prepared for the Worlds as well. I got my routine. The first part of my routine, the juggle, is a little bit glitchy, but like the rest of it was tight. The tightest I've ever performed something in live battles. So.
And by the end of it, you must have been pretty confident, because I remember you going back to the setup. You walked away from the setup and then you went back and then snapped the record or something.
Yeah, that was Snare's idea. Like, man, like I showed Snare the routine, and like in his Snare way, he just looks at me like, because it's a pretty intense, aggressive routine, like most of my routines. He looked at me and goes, man, you should break the record, hey. And I'm like, yeah, iMerge has done that. He goes, no one in Australia's done it, man. I'm like, that's not how Snare sounds. Like, but like, man, I tell you what, man, like defending the national title was the most intense, nerve-wracking, just the pressure and the build-up. You know what I mean? Everyone's expecting something. You know what I mean? Like every turntablist in Australia was trying to earn the right to come and take my title. You know what I mean? And that's why it was so important. It was so important for me to defend, because I remember thinking to myself, like, people were like, a couple of people were like, oh, but what happens if you lose? I'm like, well, if I don't fucking battle, I'm going to lose the title either way. I'd rather front up and lose it fairly than give it up. Fuck that, And even if I was to lose, I wanted to be remembered. Wanted to be remembered as, like a guy that does front up and put his feet on the ground and go, fucking, let's rumble. And if I go down, I go down, but I go down swinging.
Well, you didn't go down.
No.
You made it through. And then this time when you went to the Worlds, you got through the qualifiers.
Yeah. I qualified. So that was the other thing at the Australian final as well, which was dope. Like, won unanimously as well, which the year before I didn't. So, you know, like I was going to the world final, kind of second guessing myself. Do I deserve to be an Australian champion? It was close between me and George. You know, the Red Bull bullshit. You know what I mean? And like even going to the world final, people were like, oh, you know G Spoon. It's like no, like we're from different Australia. It's a big place and rah, rah, rah. You know, and I mean no disrespect to George whatsoever, man. Like I've known George for a long time and he's a real chill, lovely dude. He's always been really cool to me, you know, like but anyway, so you know that the following year, like winning unanimously at the Australian final. And I knew I deserved to be there 150 fucking %. You know, like regardless, I just knew, like, you know, my brother was over there both times with me to support me, which was, thank you, Dylan, for coming over. But I knew 100%, regardless of the result of whether I qualified or not, I deserved to be the Australian champion representing my country. And, you know, that's, yeah, I mean, that's the, yeah. so yeah, and then from that point, at the eliminations, like they announced that like 17 DJs and only 8 getting through to the world final. And as soon as they said like cutoffs 8, I'm like, fuck. I mean, man, the caliber of DJs there was pretty high. You know, had Spell, Skills, Renner, the 12-year-old Japanese bloody.
Well, these are the
Prodigy.
guys that you had to compete against.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah, and like when you're told the cutoff's 8 from 17, you know, do the math. That's a lot of DJs going home. And what a lot of people don't realize, like when they do the eliminations, there's no crowd there. So like you get the word that you don't make it through, and that's it. You've just traveled across the other side of the world for 2 minutes of fuck all. And I tell you what, in 2016, when I realized they didn't call my name out, like, man, it was the most deflating. I never forget, I was sitting on a chair and I was sitting on the floor and then went to get up to go and grab a beer because it was finally, you know, the journey was all over, and I fucking ripped my pants like when I went to get up on the step. I was just like, fuck. fuck. Put that in the video. It was shit, man. It was shit. But that happening and me questioning myself, do I deserve to be an Australian champion? Am I actually at a world level? And I'm like, fuck this. I'm going to come back and fucking prove that I deserve to have both those things. And I did. So, man, and, you know, fast forward to this year, with my reason for not defending this year, I whether I've got 2 or 3 Australian titles doesn't. It's just a number to me, man. My mission was to get 1 in 5 years, have a crack at 1, and I got 2 in the 2 first years, and yeah. So like, you know, the journey's far from over. You know, like I'm definitely going to battle again. I don't know when that is. I need to go back to the, you know, my plan is to go, you know, I need to go back to the drawing board and come up with some content that I love, and I'm ready to fucking take to the stage again, you know. So.
And so your final placing was 6th place.
6th place. Yep.
In the world.
In the world.
So you are currently the number 6 in the world turntablist.
With the DMC rankings. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. And, you know, it's such a fucking a trip. Like, whoever wins this year, you know, one thing that people don't realize, like, wherever you qualify, right? So whoever wins this year, whoever takes my title and goes over to London, that's the order they go in the eliminations. So, you know, like to get Australia back up there, you know, where we belong to be, you know, like, you know, I was never out at the start of this little push to prove that I was the best in the world or anything like that. I just wanted to be in the conversation of dudes that could hold it down in Australia. You know what I mean? And I did that. I just wanted to earn the right to sit down at the coffee table with, you know, the Redskis and the Stains and to feel like I belong there. And I did that, you know. Excuse me. But, you know, like even to the point where, you know, Stain helped me out with my 2017 routine a little bit, you know, putting tweaks on it. And, you know, the final shadow beat juggle and beat scratch and stuff, you know, he really dug. And when I first showed it to him, he was just like, man, that's fucking death, man. That's death. And he got quite animated when I was at his house performing it. And like, as a dude from Adelaide, like I moved to Melbourne and like, man, I was there at each of his winning titles at the Australian final. You know what I mean? Like for a dude to come over and fucking annihilate everyone like he did, coming over from bloody run-of-the-mill Adelaide, you know, with a chip on his shoulder and just slaying dudes. You know what I mean? The guy's my fucking hero. There I am in his studio, you know, practicing in front of him and him helping with me with my routines. It's like a dream come true to me, man. Like, you know, it's bizarre when people ask me about what do I remember the most over the past 2 years, you know. Obviously, the main thing that sticks out is hearing my name called out, sixth to go up, and when I found out I was actually in the world final. But one of the most memorable things is after 2016, a couple of days after it happened, getting a phone call from Stain. You know what I mean? And like, I was on the phone for him for like 10 minutes and he was just like, look, man, you're the only other dude from Adelaide to do it, man. He's like, congrats, man. He goes, no one can ever take this away from you, man. You know, you earned this right. And whatever happens, man. But man, like, you know, and he was just so polite. And I remember like, hang up the phone and like, you know, like this day on the phone, like, man, I just got a phone call from Stain 1. You know, and that's when it really started kind of like sinking in what I'd done. And yeah, what a fucking trip, man.
The lesson. Oh yeah.